The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's sky on a Tuesday morning. It was bigger than any city, blocking out the sun over the Pacific Ocean. People around the world stopped what they were doing and stared at their screens. First contact had finally happened. Commander Hyun-woo stood in the shuttle bay, adjusting his uniform one last time. He was chosen to lead humanity's diplomatic team because he spoke 7 languages and never lost his temper. Behind him stood Dr. Ji-woo, a brilliant scientist with gray hair and kind eyes. General Sang-min was there too, a veteran soldier who had seen 3 wars. Lieutenant Yuna, the youngest of the group, carried a tablet with all their technical data. The alien shuttle came down to collect them. It made no sound at all. When they stepped inside, everything was smooth and white, like being inside a pearl. The aliens who greeted them looked like tall birds with 4 arms and skin that changed colors. They did not shake hands. The journey to the main ship took only minutes. When the doors opened, Hyun-woo saw a chamber so large that clouds formed near the ceiling. Hundreds of aliens from different species filled the space. Some had too many eyes. Others had no eyes at all. Some floated in bubbles of liquid. Others stood on legs that bent the wrong way. A voice spoke in perfect English, coming from everywhere and nowhere. "Welcome, humans of Earth. We are the Confluence. We have watched your species for many years. Today we invite you to join the galactic community." The crowd of aliens made sounds that might have been applause. Hyun-woo bowed respectfully. "We are honored by your invitation. We hope to learn from you and share what we know." One alien stepped forward. It looked like a lizard standing upright, covered in blue scales that sparkled under the lights. "I am Vrin, speaker for the Confluence Military Council. We have prepared a technology exchange. You will show us your achievements. We will show you ours. Then we will discuss your place among us." The presentation began. The aliens showed their technology first. Hyun-woo and his team watched in amazement as holograms displayed ships that could travel faster than light by folding space itself. They saw energy shields that could stop any weapon. They watched communications that happened instantly across the galaxy, thoughts transferred from mind to mind without words. "Our quantum fold drives," Vrin explained with obvious pride, "can cross your entire solar system in 3 seconds. Our shields have never been broken. Our technology is 10,000 years more advanced than yours." Other aliens nodded and made sounds of agreement. Some looked at the humans with what seemed like pity. Then it was Earth's turn. Dr. Ji-woo stood and activated the hologram projector. "This is our primary spacecraft engine," she said. The image showed a large metal cylinder with fuel tanks attached. "It burns chemical fuel to create thrust. It can reach Mars in 7 months." Silence filled the chamber. Then someone laughed. Then another. Soon the entire room was filled with sounds that humans understood perfectly. They were being mocked. Vrin's scales rippled with colors that probably meant amusement. "Chemical combustion? You still burn fuel like ancient fire?" "How wonderfully primitive," Ji-woo continued calmly. "Our weapons are based on kinetic energy and explosive materials. We use metal projectiles accelerated to high speeds and warheads that release energy through nuclear fission or fusion." More laughter. An alien in the back shouted something that the translator rendered as Stone Age tactics. General Sang-min showed their communications technology. "We use radio waves and fiber optic cables to transmit information." "Radio waves!" Vrin could barely contain his amusement. "We stopped using electromagnetic radiation for communication 6,000 years ago. It is too slow, too easy to intercept, too limited in range." Lieutenant Yuna stood to present their defensive technology. "Our armor is made from composite materials, ceramics, and metal alloys. Our shields are kinetic barriers and reactive plates." The laughter grew louder. Some aliens were making gestures that clearly meant they found this ridiculous. Vrin turned to face the crowd, spreading his 4 arms wide. "Physical armor. They still rely on putting thick metal between themselves and danger. How charmingly backward. Through it all, Hyun-woo noticed something. His team was not embarrassed. Ji-woo's face was neutral, professional. Sang-min stood straight and calm. And Yuna, she had the smallest smile at the corner of her mouth, like someone who knew a secret. When the presentation ended, Vrin addressed them again. Humans of Earth, the confluence is generous. We offer you membership as a client species. You will be protected by our fleets. You will receive our technology in time as you prove able to handle it. In exchange, you will provide resources and follow our guidance. You will be junior partners in the great galactic civilization. Hyun-woo stepped forward. His voice was polite but firm. We appreciate your generous offer. However, we request time to discuss this with our government and people. Making such a decision requires careful consideration. Vrin's scales shifted to a color that might have meant surprise or annoyance. Very well. You have 1 week to decide. But understand, opportunities like this do not come often. The galaxy is vast and dangerous. Without our protection, primitive species rarely survive long. The human delegation was escorted back to their shuttle. As they flew back to Earth, nobody spoke until they were alone in the shuttle. Then Sang-min began to laugh. It was a deep, genuine laugh. What's funny? Ji-woo asked, though she was smiling too. They have no idea, Sang-min said, shaking his head. They looked at our tools and saw weakness. They don't understand what we built those tools for. Yuna was grinning now. They think complexity means strength. They've forgotten the first rule of engineering. Hyun-woo looked out at Earth growing larger in the window. And what rule is that? Keep it simple, Yuna said. Keep it reliable. Keep it working when everything else fails. They landed back on Earth as heroes who had met the aliens. But Hyun-woo knew the truth. The real meeting, the real test, was yet to come. And when it did, those proud aliens with their advanced technology might learn a hard lesson. Sometimes the old ways are old because they work. 3 days passed while Earth's leaders debated the confluence offer. Hyun-woo was in a meeting room in Geneva when the emergency signal came through. Every screen in the room suddenly showed the same image. Vrin's face, but the colors of his scales were different now. They looked like fear. This is an emergency broadcast to all Confluence members and associates, Vrin said. His voice had lost all its earlier pride. The Xyrillian Empire has attacked Sentinel Prime. The colony is under siege. All available ships are responding. The connection cut off. Hyun-woo and his team exchanged glances. The Xyrillians? Ji-woo asked. General Sang-min pulled up information on his tablet. Ancient enemy of the confluence. They've been at war for generations. The Xyrillians always lose because the confluence technology is superior. This is probably just another failed attempt. But it was not another failed attempt. The first reports came in within an hour. Sentinel Prime had fallen. 300 confluence ships had been destroyed. The number seemed impossible. The confluence fleet was supposed to be invincible. By evening, more news arrived. 2 more colonies had gone dark. The Xyrillian fleet was advancing, and nothing could stop them. The confluence was sending every available ship to form a defensive line, but nobody understood what was happening. On the 3rd day after the attack, Vrin appeared on Earth's communication channels again. He looked like he had not slept. His scales were dull and gray. Commander Hyun-woo, we request an immediate conference. The situation is dire. The human delegation was brought back to the Confluence flagship. This time, there was no ceremony, no crowds. They were taken to a small command room where Vrin stood with several other aliens. A holographic display showed a star map with red markers spreading like disease. 7 colonies destroyed, Vrin said without greeting them. 40,000 ships lost, civilian casualties beyond counting. He touched the display and a video began to play. It showed a battle. Confluent ships appeared from quantum-fold space, their shields glowing bright. They moved with grace and power, weapons charging. Then something happened. All at once, every ship went dark. Their shields vanished. Their movement stopped. They just floated in space like dead metal. Then the Xyrillian ships appeared. They looked crude, blocky, covered in thick armor. They opened fire with simple projectile weapons. The helpless confluence ships were torn apart. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. "What happened to your ships?" Hyunwoo asked. An alien that looked like a floating jellyfish spoke in a musical voice. "The Xyrillians deployed a new weapon. We call it a quantum disruption field. It stops all quantum state technology from functioning. Our drives, our computers, our shields, our weapons. Everything stops. Everything that made us powerful," Vryn added bitterly, "is now useless." Jiwoo leaned forward, studying the video. "What about non-quantum technology? Simple mechanical systems, chemical reactions, analog computers?" The jellyfish alien rippled with confusion. "Those systems are not affected. The disruption field only impacts quantum-level processes. But who uses such primitive technology anymore?" The room fell silent. Slowly, every alien eye turned to look at the humans. "No," Vryn said. "Impossible. Your technology is too limited, too slow, too weak." "Our technology," General Sang-min said carefully, "does not rely on quantum mechanics. Our engines burn fuel. Our weapons are metal and explosives. Our computers are silicon chips with electric current. Our communications are radio waves." "The very things you mocked," Yuna added quietly. Vryn's scales flushed with color. Anger, maybe, or shame. "Even if what you say is true, your ships are too slow. The Xyrillians will attack the industrial world Kardashev 3 within 72 hours. You cannot reach it in time with your primitive drives." Jiwoo did quick calculations on her tablet. "Our fastest military ships can reach Kardashev 3 in 68 hours if we launch immediately." "It will be close but possible." Another alien, this one covered in silver fur, spoke up. "And what will you do when you arrive? The Xyrillians have 200 warships. You would bring what, 20? 30 at most? Your weapons may work inside the disruption field, but you are hopelessly outnumbered." "Maybe," Hyunwoo said, "but you are losing. Every hour more of your people die. You can sit here and debate whether we are good enough, or you can let us try. What do you have to lose?" Vryn looked around the room at the other confluence leaders. None of them spoke. The holographic map showed the red markers creeping closer to their core worlds. Finally, Vryn turned back to the humans. "Very well. We will transmit the coordinates for Kardashev 3. You have permission to engage the Xyrillian fleet. If, by some miracle, your primitive weapons work, we will be grateful. If not—" He did not finish the sentence. "If not," Hyunwoo said, "at least we tried to help." The human delegation returned to Earth immediately. Within 4 hours, every available military ship was being prepared for launch. Admiral Woo Jin, Earth's most experienced fleet commander, took command of the operation. He stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, watching the crews load weapons that suddenly did not seem so primitive anymore. "Chemical rockets," Woo Jin said to his tactical officer, Lieutenant Yuna, who had been assigned to his ship. "Railguns, nuclear missiles, all the technology they laughed at." "Yes, sir," Yuna replied. "All the technology they need." The fleet launched on schedule, 20 Earth warships, carrying weapons that were hundreds of years old by galactic standards. They burned fuel to push through space, taking almost 3 days to reach Kardashev 3. No quantum drives, no instant travel, just steady acceleration and patient waiting. As they approached the Kardashev system, Admiral Woo Jin addressed his fleet. "In a few hours, we will face an enemy that has defeated the most advanced military in the galaxy. They have better numbers. They have more experience. But they have never faced humans before. They have never fought ships like ours, weapons like ours. Show them that simple and reliable beats complex and fragile every time. For Earth. For the innocent people on Kardashev 3. For everyone who ever laughed at our technology. On every ship, crews checked their weapons one last time. Railgun capacitors charged. Missile tubes loaded. Kinetic kill vehicles prepared for launch. Admiral Wu Jin looked at the tactical display showing the Xyrillian fleet surrounding Kardashev 3. All ships, he said calmly, prepare for combat. The Earth fleet dropped out of acceleration at the edge of the Kardashev system. Admiral Wu Jin stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the tactical display. 200 red dots surrounded the blue marker that represented Kardashev 3. The Xyrillian fleet was massive. "Sir, they've detected us," Lieutenant Yuna reported from her station. "The Xyrillians are repositioning. They're forming up to intercept." "Good," Wu Jin said. "Let them come to us. All ships maintain formation. Engineering, status report." Chief Engineer Bo-Ra's voice came through the communications system. "All systems operating normally, Admiral. Reactors at full power. Railgun capacitors charging. Missile tubes loaded and ready. We're good to go." On the view screen, the Xyrillian ships grew larger. They were ugly vessels, covered in thick metal plates and bristling with weapons. They looked like flying fortresses, built for one purpose only: destruction. "Sir, they're activating something," Yuna said, her voice tense. "Energy readings are off the scale. I think it's the quantum disruption field." A wave of invisible energy washed over the Earth fleet. On ships across the galaxy, this moment meant death. Shields would fail. Computers would crash. Weapons would go silent. Ships would become floating coffins. Nothing happened to the human ships. "Engineering report," Wu Jin said. Bo-Ra's voice came back immediately. "All systems normal, Admiral. The field has no effect on us. Our technology doesn't use quantum mechanics, so there's nothing for it to disrupt." For a moment, Wu Jin allowed himself a small smile. "Just as we thought. Tactical, you may fire when ready." Yuna's hands moved across her controls. "Targeting solutions locked. All ships report ready. Firing." The Indomitable shuddered as its main railgun fired. A solid slug of metal, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, shot across space. It hit a Xyrillian ship dead center. The slug punched through the armor like it was paper, went through the entire ship, and came out the other side. The Xyrillian vessel broke apart, atmosphere and debris exploding into space. Across the fleet, every human ship opened fire. Railgun rounds streaked through the void. Nuclear missiles, their simple guidance systems immune to jamming, accelerated toward their targets. Kinetic kill vehicles, just heavy metal rods with basic thrusters, crashed into enemy hulls with devastating force. The Xyrillians tried to respond. Their weapons fired back, but they were designed to overwhelm energy shields and quantum defenses. Against the human ships, with their simple composite armor and reactive plating, the enemy weapons were less effective. What would have destroyed a Confluence ship in seconds barely scratched the human armor. "They're confused," Yuna observed, watching the enemy formations start to break apart. "They don't know how to fight us. Their tactics are all based on fighting ships with shields." "Keep firing," Wu Jin ordered. "Target their largest ships first. Break their command structure." The battle became a dance of death. The Xyrillian ships tried to surround the human fleet using their superior numbers, but the human ships moved with surprising grace. Their chemical thrusters could fire in any direction, giving them maneuverability that the heavier Xyrillian ships could not match. A group of 5 Xyrillian vessels broke away from the main fleet and accelerated toward the Indomitable. "Incoming attack," Yuna warned. "They're trying to board us." "Let them try," Wu Jin said calmly. "All ships, close defense weapons free. Marines, prepare to repel boarders." The Xerillian ships attached themselves to the Indomitable's hull. Cutting tools began to slice through the outer armor. In the ship's corridors, human marines took up positions, checking their weapons one last time. Sergeant Tae Yang, a veteran of Earth's own wars, waited by the breach point with his squad. "Remember," he told his men, "they're used to fighting with energy weapons and fancy shields. We've got bullets and blades, simple, reliable, and very effective." The Xerillian cutting tool broke through. Alien soldiers poured into the corridor, wearing armor that probably cost more than a small city. They carried weapons that hummed with power, designed to overload shields and disrupt advanced electronics. Tae Yang and his squad opened fire with assault rifles that used gunpowder to propel metal bullets. The weapons were over 300 years old in design. They worked perfectly. The Xerillian armor could not stop simple bullets moving at high velocity. Their weapons, designed to fight shielded enemies, took too long to charge. In the narrow corridor, the human advantage was overwhelming. Within minutes, the boarding attempt was over. On the bridge, Wu Jin watched the tactical display. Half the Xerillian fleet was destroyed or disabled. The rest were starting to retreat, breaking off from the engagement. "Sir, the Confluence is transmitting," Yuna said. "They've been watching the battle." "Put them through," Wu Jin ordered. Vrin's face appeared on the screen. His scales were bright colors now, flashing with what could only be amazement. "Admiral Wu Jin, we are witnessing something impossible. Your fleet is defeating an enemy that destroyed 300 of our ships." "Not impossible," Wu Jin replied. "Just different. Our weapons may be simple, but they work. That's what matters." The remaining Xerillian ships were fleeing now, their quantum drives carrying them away to regroup. The human fleet did not pursue. Their mission was to defend Kardashev 3, not chase the enemy across the galaxy. "All ships, damage report," Wu Jin commanded. One by one, the human vessels reported in. Some had damage to their armor. A few had minor system failures, but not a single ship was lost. 20 human warships had defeated a fleet 10 times their size. On Kardashev 3, the alien inhabitants looked up at their sky in wonder. The battle had lasted only 4 hours. 4 hours for everything to change. Bo-Ra came to the bridge personally, her uniform stained with grease and sweat. "Admiral, I need to report something. During the battle, I had teams monitoring every system. The quantum disruption field had absolutely zero effect on our technology. Our engines kept running. Our computers kept working. Our weapons never stopped firing. We operated at full capability the entire time." "Because our technology is too primitive for the field to affect," Yuna added. "Not primitive," Wu Jin corrected gently. "Robust, there's a difference." A message came through from the Confluence flagship. It was a formal communication, broadcast to every ship in the system, human and alien alike. Vrin's voice was different now. The mockery was gone. The arrogance was gone. In its place was something that sounded like respect. "To the human fleet under Admiral Wu Jin. On behalf of the Confluence and the inhabitants of Kardashev 3, we express our deepest gratitude. You have achieved what we could not. You have defeated the Xerillian Empire using technology we dismissed as worthless. We were wrong. We were fools. And we are in your debt." Wu Jin looked around his bridge at his crew. They were tired, but their faces showed pride. They had proven something today, something important. "Send a reply," Wu Jin said. "Tell them we were honored to help. Tell them that sometimes the old ways work best. And tell them we need to talk about what happens next, because this war is far from over." As the message was sent, Yuna looked at the Admiral. "Sir, do you think they finally understand about our technology?" Wu Jin gazed at the stars through the view screen. "They're starting to, but understanding and accepting are different things. The real test comes next when we sit down and discuss the future. That's when we'll find out if they truly learned their lesson." The Earth fleet settled into orbit around Kardashev 3, victorious but watchful. In the distance, confluence ships began to arrive, their powerful sensors analyzing every detail of the battle. The galaxy was about to learn a hard truth. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right answer. The emergency summit was held on the Confluence flagship 5 days after the Battle of Kardashev 3. This time, when the human delegation arrived, everything was different. Alien guards saluted them. Officials bowed respectfully. The same corridor where they had been mocked now felt like a parade route. Commander Hyunwoo walked at the front of the delegation, with Dr. Jiwoo and General Sang-min beside him. Lieutenant Yuna and Admiral Woo Jin followed behind. They were escorted to the Grand Chamber, the same place where aliens had laughed at Earth's technology. The chamber was full again, but the atmosphere had changed completely. Every species was present, their representatives standing in respectful silence. As the humans entered, the entire assembly stood. Some species bowed. Others made gestures that clearly meant honor and respect. Vrin stood at the center platform. His scales showed colors that Jiwoo's research suggested meant humility and respect. Commander Hyunwoo, Admiral Woo Jin, honored representatives of Earth, welcome to this emergency session of the Galactic High Command. Hyunwoo bowed politely. Thank you for your invitation. Please, Vrin gestured to a raised platform that had been prepared for the human delegation. Take your place among us as equals. The word equals hung in the air. Just days ago, Earth had been offered membership as a client species, a junior partner. Now they were being called equals. The session began with reports from the battle. Holographic displays showed every moment of the fight. Alien analysts had studied the human tactics, the weapons, the ship designs. They showed how railgun rounds traveled faster than most alien eyes could see. They showed how nuclear missiles ignored electronic countermeasures because they used simple guidance systems. They showed how human ships could maneuver in ways that quantum drive vessels could not match inside the disruption field. One analyst, a creature that looked like a floating brain in a glass sphere, presented findings that made the entire chamber murmur in surprise. The human weapons are not just effective inside disruption fields. They are effective everywhere. They require no exotic materials, no rare elements, no quantum stabilizers. They can be manufactured anywhere, repaired anywhere, operated anywhere. They are, in the truest sense, universal weapons. Dr. Jiwoo was asked to speak about Earth's technological philosophy. She walked to the center platform, her voice calm and clear. For thousands of years, humans fought each other. We built weapons that had to work in deserts and jungles, in frozen mountains and burning cities. We learned that complicated weapons break. Simple weapons keep working. We learned that the best technology is technology you can fix with basic tools and understand without advanced computers. She activated a hologram showing a simple mechanical watch. This is a human timepiece, hundreds of years old. It has no computer, no power source except a wound spring. It still works perfectly. This is our philosophy. Build things that last. Build things that work. Build things you can trust when everything else fails. An alien from a species that looked like living crystals spoke up. But this means your advancement is limited. You will never achieve the efficiency of quantum drives or the power of zero-point energy. Maybe not, Jiwoo agreed, but we will always have ships that fly, weapons that fire, and systems that work. Can you say the same when someone uses a disruption field against you? Silence answered her question. General Sang-min was next. He spoke about military doctrine and the lessons from Kardashev 3. The Xerillian Empire will not stop. They know they have found a weapon that neutralizes your advantage. They will attack again and again. You need a military force that can fight inside disruption fields. You need ships and weapons that don't rely on quantum technology. You need us, Yuna added quietly from her seat. Vryn stepped forward again. The Confluence has discussed this extensively over the past days. We have analyzed every option, every possibility. We have reached a conclusion, and it is this. We were wrong about Earth. We were wrong about your technology. We were wrong about your value. And we wish to make this right. He turned to face the entire assembly. I propose that Earth be granted full membership in the Confluence, with all rights and privileges. Furthermore, I propose that we establish a joint military command structure, combining Confluence quantum technology with Earth's robust systems. Another alien stood, this one covered in silver fur. I second this proposal, but I would go further. The Xyrillian threat requires immediate action. We need experienced commanders who understand this new type of warfare. Therefore, I propose that Admiral Wu Jin be appointed Supreme Commander of the Joint Defense Force. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some aliens seemed shocked. Others nodded in agreement. Hyunwoo noticed that most of the species who had laughed loudest at Earth's technology were now the ones supporting the proposal most strongly. A vote was called. One by one, each species cast their vote. When it was done, the result was unanimous. Earth was a full member. Admiral Wu Jin was Supreme Commander. After the formal session ended, Vryn approached the human delegation privately. His scales showed colors that meant apology and regret. Commander Hyunwoo, I must speak with you. What I said during your first visit here was inexcusable. I mocked you and your technology out of arrogance and ignorance. I understand if you cannot forgive this. Hyunwoo studied the alien for a moment. Your species has been powerful for a long time. Power makes anyone arrogant. What matters is that you learned from your mistake. We accept your apology. Vryn's scales brightened. Thank you. Now we must discuss the war effort. The Xyrillians will not wait long before attacking again. We need to integrate our forces quickly. The planning began immediately. Over the next hours, human and alien officers worked together, designing a new kind of military. Confluence ships would handle long-range travel with their quantum drives, but would carry backup chemical propulsion. Their weapons would include both energy weapons and human-style kinetic systems. Every ship would have redundant systems that could operate without quantum technology. Bo-Ra, the chief engineer, worked with alien technicians to design hybrid vessels. The key is modularity, she explained. Your quantum drive for travel, our chemical rockets for combat inside disruption fields, your sensors for long range, our radar for close combat, your energy shields for normal battles, our composite armor for when shields fail. Belt and suspenders, one of the alien engineers said, using a human phrase they had learned. Exactly, Bo-Ra smiled. Always have a backup, always have a simple solution ready. Admiral Wu Jin met with his new command staff, a mix of humans and aliens from 12 different species. He stood before them and spoke plainly. We are facing an enemy that has learned to defeat advanced technology. They think this makes them unstoppable. We are going to prove them wrong. We are going to show them that technology is just a tool. Victory comes from strategy, courage, and soldiers who refuse to give up. Are you with me? Every member of his staff, human and alien alike, agreed. That night, as the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Yuna stood looking out at the stars. The Kelrathi observer, Thraxus, approached her quietly. You knew, Thraxus said. At the first meeting, you smiled. You knew this would happen. Yuna turned to face the alien. Not exactly, but I knew that someone would test the confluence eventually, and I knew that when they did, simple and reliable would beat complex and fragile. We just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Your species is remarkable, Thraxus observed. We're not remarkable, Yuna corrected. We're practical. There's a difference. The Earth delegation returned home to a planet that was celebrating. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. They were partners, equals, and protectors. The technology that had been mocked was now saving lives across the galaxy. But everyone knew the real war was just beginning. 2 months after the Battle of Kardashev III, the combined fleet assembled at the staging point near the Xyrillian border. It was the largest military force the galaxy had ever seen. 3,000 ships from 12 species, all under one command. And at the center of it all was Admiral Wu Jin, standing on the bridge of the new flagship Unity. The Unity was a hybrid ship, built in record time by human and alien engineers working together. It had a confluence quantum drive for fast travel, but also chemical rocket thrusters. It had energy shields, but also thick composite armor. It had directed energy weapons, but also railguns and missile tubes. It was a ship designed to fight anywhere, against anyone, under any conditions. Lieutenant Yuna stood at the tactical station, monitoring the fleet's status. "All ships report ready, Admiral. Human vessels at full readiness. Confluence vessels have activated both quantum and backup systems. Everyone is standing by for your orders." Wu Jin looked at the holographic display showing the fleet. Human destroyers flew alongside sleek Vryn cruisers. Earth carriers moved in formation with Kelrathi battleships. Every ship carried weapons from both technologies, ready for whatever the battle would bring. "Status of the Xyrillian forces?" Wu Jin asked. Commander Hyun Woo, now serving as the fleet's diplomatic liaison, answered from his station. "Intelligence reports show the Xyrillians have fortified their home system. They believe their disruption field makes them invincible. They have called back all their fleets and are waiting for us." "They think we cannot touch them," Vryn added from his position at weapons control. The alien officer had requested to serve under human command, saying he wanted to learn from those who had defeated him. "They believe their quantum disruption field will stop us, just as it stopped our ships before." "They're in for a surprise," General Sangmin said. He was commanding the Marine forces. Thousands of soldiers from multiple species trained in human combat tactics. "When their field activates, our backup systems kick in. We keep fighting. They're expecting us to go dark like the old Confluence fleet did." Dr. Ji Woo, serving as the fleet's chief science advisor, checked her calculations one more time. "Admiral, the moment they activate the disruption field, all quantum-based systems will fail. Our hybrid approach means we will experience a brief transition, maybe 5 to 10 seconds, as systems switch to backup mode. After that, we will be operating at about 70% combat efficiency." "70% is better than 0%, Wu Jin observed. "All ships, this is the Admiral. In a few minutes, we will jump to the Xyrillian home system. They think they have a weapon that makes them unbeatable. They are wrong. When the disruption field hits, stay calm. Trust your backup systems. Trust your training. And remember, simple and reliable beats, complex and fragile. For the Confluence, for Earth, for everyone who was ever underestimated. The fleet engaged quantum drives and folded space. In an instant, 3,000 ships appeared in Xyrillian space, facing a defensive fleet of 5,000 enemy vessels. The Xyrillian formation was strong, positioned to protect their homeworld. On the view screen, Wu Jin saw the Xyrillian flagship, massive and bristling with weapons. A communication came through. The Xyrillian commander appeared, a creature with 4 eyes and skin like rough stone. "Foolish Confluence," the Xyrillian commander said. "You learned nothing from your defeats. Did you think bringing more ships would help? We will activate our disruption field, and your precious quantum technology will fail. You will drift helpless while we destroy you." "You're welcome to try," Wu Jin replied calmly. The Xyrillian commander made a gesture, and the disruption field activated. Invisible energy washed across space, targeting quantum state technology. On confluent ships throughout the fleet, alarms sounded. Quantum drives shut down. Advanced computers flickered. Energy weapons powered down, but only for 5 seconds. Then, across the fleet, backup systems engaged. chemical rockets fired, mechanical computers calculated trajectories, rail guns powered up using simple electrical current. Radio communications established connections. The fleet kept moving, kept fighting, kept operating. On the Xyrillian flagship, confusion spread. Their field was active. The confluence ships should be dead. Instead, they were closing for combat, weapons hot. "All ships, engage at will," Wu Jin commanded. The battle began. Human destroyers fired railgun volleys that tore through Xyrillian armor. Confluence cruisers, using backup chemical thrusters, maneuvered into position and launched missiles with simple guidance systems. Vrin ships, equipped with new kinetic weapons designed by human engineers, proved devastatingly effective. The Xyrillians tried to respond, but their tactics were all wrong. They were fighting as if the Allied fleet was helpless, making aggressive moves that left them exposed. When they realized the enemy could still fight, they tried to fall back, but it was too late. The combined fleet was among them, and at close range, human-style weapons dominated. On the Unity, Chief Engineer Bo-Ra managed systems with her team, switching between quantum and mechanical modes as needed. "Admiral, our hybrid approach is working even better than expected. When we need speed, we use quantum drives outside the disruption field. When we need reliability, we fall back to chemical systems. We have flexibility they cannot match." The battle lasted 6 hours. By the end, the Xyrillian defensive fleet was shattered. Their home world lay undefended. But Wu Jin did not order an attack on the planet. Instead, he opened a communication channel to the Xyrillian government. "This is Admiral Wu Jin of the Combined Defense Force. Your military has been defeated. Your disruption field has failed. You have two options: surrender and negotiate peace, or we continue this battle until nothing remains of your fleet. Choose now." The response took 10 minutes. When it came, it was not the Xyrillian commander, but a civilian leader, a female with softer features and eyes that showed wisdom rather than aggression. "Admiral Wu Jin, I am Council Leader Zeria. Our military promised us that the disruption field made us invincible. They told us we could defeat the confluence and take our rightful place as the dominant power. They were wrong. On behalf of the Xyrillian people, I request terms of surrender." The peace negotiations happened quickly. The Xyrillians would disarm their disruption field technology and cease all hostile actions. In exchange, the confluence would help them rebuild and integrate them as members of the galactic community. It was a better outcome than anyone had expected. As the combined fleet prepared to return home, Wu Jin stood on the bridge with his command staff. Hyun-Woo joined him, carrying a data pad with messages from across the galaxy. "Admiral, I thought you would want to see these," Hyun-Woo said. "Requests from 40 different species asking for human military advisors. Requests from 70 species asking for technology exchange programs. Requests from the Galactic High Command to establish permanent human military academies." Wu Jin read through the messages, shaking his head in wonder. 2 months ago, they were laughing at us. Now they want to learn from us. Yuna approached with her own report. "Sir, I've been monitoring communications. Do you know what they're calling us?" "The species that made the galaxy remember the basics. Some of the younger species are rebuilding their military doctrine around human principles. Keep it simple, keep it reliable, always have a backup plan." "The irony is beautiful," Sang-Min observed. "We were called primitive. Now we're teaching the advanced species how to fight." Vrin, standing nearby, made a sound that was the Vrin equivalent of laughter. "The universe has a sense of humor. We looked at your chemical rockets and thought, how backward. We should have thought, how reliable. We saw your metal projectiles and thought, how crude. We should have thought, how effective." Dr. Jiwoo smiled. "There's a human saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Sometimes the old ways are old because they work." As the fleet prepared to jump to quantum space for the journey home, Wu Jin took one last look at the Xerillian homeworld. A civilization that had bet everything on a single advanced weapon had learned a hard lesson. Complexity was not the same as superiority. The journey back to Confluence Space took 2 days. When they arrived, the entire galaxy seemed to be waiting. Every species sent representatives to welcome the victorious fleet. The celebration lasted a week. On the final day, a special ceremony was held. The Galactic High Command presented Earth with the highest honor the Confluence could give: permanent membership in the ruling council. Commander Hyun Woo accepted on behalf of humanity, speaking to an audience of billions across the galaxy. "We are honored by this recognition," Hyun Woo said. "But we want to be clear about something. We are not better than you. We are not smarter than you. We simply remembered something that all species should remember. The best tool is the one that works when you need it. Simple, reliable, and effective will always beat complex, fragile, and fancy." The crowd erupted in applause. Species that had laughed at Earth's technology now cheered for human wisdom. Later, as the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Yuna found herself standing alone in an observation deck, watching the stars. Thraxus, the Kelrathi observer who had been at that first meeting, joined her. "Do you remember that first day?" Thraxus asked. "When Vryn laughed at your chemical rockets?" "I remember," Yuna said. "You smiled." "You knew even then." "I knew that someone who laughs at a tool without understanding its value is a fool," Yuna said. "I knew that our technology was built by people who needed it to work, not people who wanted to look advanced. And I knew that someday the galaxy would need that kind of technology." "You were right," Thraxus said. "Your species taught us something invaluable. Sometimes the answer is not to build something more complex. Sometimes the answer is to build something that simply works." Yuna looked out at the combined fleet, human and alien ships flying together in perfect formation. "The galaxy laughed at our technology," she said softly. "Now we get to laugh, not at them, but with them, because they learned. And that's what really matters." The human ships turned toward home, carrying with them the respect of an entire galaxy. Earth had entered the stars as underdogs, mocked and dismissed. They returned as teachers, leaders, and the species that reminded everyone of the most important truth: simple solutions to complex problems, reliable tools for difficult jobs, and the wisdom to know that newer is not always better. The Galactic High Command had laughed at Earth's technology, but in the end, Earth had the final laugh.